As Aaron mentioned, we have schools redesigning right now. So in 2013, we were very clear. We established our clear vision for personalized learning. We built the Parthenon. We said we're all going to move in the direction of student agency. At that time, we were saying voice and choice. But we knew that we have 50 very different schools in the district, and that what we didn't want to do is just say to all 50 schools, here's the vision for personalized learning, go make this happen. What we wanted to do was strategically and thoughtfully roll out our vision for personalized learning. So the way we opted to do that was to have schools self-select and apply to be part of a cohort and go through an intensive school redesign process that is thoughtful and supported with financial resources and human resources and process, so that schools built long-term strategic plans for how they're going to operationalize all of those tenets of personalized learning and specifically advanced student agency. So we have a school redesign process. It's about a year and a half long from beginning to end. We started this in spring of 2014, and we had schools apply and say, we would like to begin learning about personalized learning, figuring out how to operationalize student agency, and we're going to go through school redesign process. So for a year and a half, they study and research and travel and read books and mostly do a lot of soul searching about what does student-centered learning need to look like at your school, and then they make some decisions about what they'd like to do first and what's the model going to look like and how are we going to communicate this with and engage stakeholders in the work. And so we accept schools in cohorts. Our first cohort was 6 schools. You see listed there, cohort 15. They're called cohort 15 because they launched elements of their personalized learning plan in August 2015. We started with 6 because we wanted to start small, and we started with secondary because honestly they were the taller hill to climb. And so those schools turned in applications and said, we'd like to go down this road with you, and we accepted them and put them through this intensive school redesign process, which includes them making oral presentations out to a panel and writing a school readiness criteria strategic planning document that they present over time. So they spend a year and a half learning, researching, writing the document to launch from the district. Included in that is a little bit of funding for them, but mostly it is about professional development for teachers, collaboration time for teachers, bringing in some expertise, but it's a continuous improvement process. So we had 6 schools launch in August 2015. We had another set of schools launch in August 2016. That's cohort 16 that you see listed there, which includes 7 elementary schools and 2 high schools. We have another cohort 17 who just completed the planning process. That's the middle list of schools that you see right there. And then we just had our 4th cohort of schools apply and begin the planning process, and they're going to launch elements of their plans in August 2018. One of the things that we've seen, just a note on rolling this out in a large district like ours, we have clusters of schools that are working together to make this happen, and that makes tons of sense from a K-12 vertical planning perspective. We said in the application process it's advantageous to schools to apply as a cluster, so the elementary that feeds into the middle and the middle that feeds into the high, but we also didn't want to stop individual schools who had a strong vision who wanted to do this, so we have a kind of a mix in there of full clusters and then some schools that are kind of the only one in their cluster or 1 or 2 out of their cluster feeder pattern to redesign. But what this means is we right now have 32 schools in the process of either launching or planning to launch personalized learning. And what we've said to them is we are model agnostic. We are tech tool agnostic for the most part. There are lots of whatever authentic learning looks like at your school is up to your discretion. The checkpoints along the way are the district listening to the oral presentations and asking questions and giving feedback, and also final review of their written document. Within those broad guardrails that Aaron described, and I think that's the right word for it, schools have lots of autonomy to determine what this actually looks like on a day-to-day basis in their building, but it's all headed in the direction of student agency. So our redesign process is this balance of loose and tight that needs to honor school autonomy as well as make sure that it's all headed in the direction of student agency. So those are the schools that we have who are engaged right now, and it's really kind of 32 different versions of what personalized learning can look like within the guardrails. And this is just another slide sort of saying the same thing. We have a plan to launch schools in cohorts. And one of the things that we've noticed with the cohorts is that we learn lessons from cohort to cohort, and we get smarter and better with each cohort of schools that redesigns as we go through. So right now we're on the green line, cohort 18, in terms of redesigning. We are much smarter now than we were with cohort 15 schools. But this entire effort is a continuous improvement effort. So we're all getting better and smarter as we go through. This is we have a 2020 vision, and our 2020 vision is that by the year 2020, all 50 of our schools will be engaged in personalized learning work in some way, either having launched or in the planning phases of it. So in another 2 years, we'll have all 50 of our schools engaged in personalized learning. This is really just a timeline of the entire effort. We were applied for Race to the Top in 2011, didn't get the Race to the Top Personalized Learning District grant, which I think turned out to be a good thing for us, but it's indicative of the fact that we were committed to being a full district-wide personalized learning district before the Gates Foundation grant presented itself. But when the Gates Foundation grant presented itself, we were ready and we applied and we were selected. And the most intensive strategic planning for the district happened in fall of 2013 and then early through 2014. And then in 2015, we launched those schools that we talked about. And then in 2016, we launched more schools. And then I need to add a 2017 onto this slide as well. So this is just kind of a really high level look at the progress of the entire effort over the past 3 years, which is both school redesign and district level work to support the school redesign effort. So I want to pause there and say any questions about any of that, or school redesign, or the long-term approach that we've taken here.
Karen, I love how you guys have been learners through the whole process, and you said you still go out and visit other people. I'm really looking through my data bank of all the folks that we've been working with, and with the possible exception of Albemarle in Virginia, do you know of any other public school districts that are as far along in the holistic process as you guys are, or do you go out and visit for the pieces and parts?
Well, our approach has been for pieces and parts. So, you know, even within our district, schools are really different from community to community. And so when we travel, we advise our schools, and we have done this as a district as well, to go find the things that you like and bring those things back to the table and kind of, you know, table the other stuff that you don't want to adopt from other places. Having said that, there are 5 other districts in the NGSI work with us who are attempting to scale up personalized learning on the same kind of scale that we are. Some of them are trying to go full district-wide, and some of them are rolling out in different ways. But those other NGSI districts are Riverside, California, Lake County, Florida, Pinellas County, Florida, Dallas ISD, and Denver Public Schools. So they're committed to personalized learning at the district level in those districts, and they're the other NGSI districts like us. Practically speaking, we have traveled to Charleston, South Carolina, and we have, I just saw on their website, their State Department of Education has a personalized learning vision for the entire state of South Carolina. I haven't dug into that as much as I should have. I've really just learned about that more recently. That's one of my things on my list to dig into a little bit more. Aaron, can you think of any other full districts that are like all in doing this in every school?
No, not that I can think of that have taken the approach that we have. And I think that that's okay, though. I mean, part of what, to Karen's point, part of what we've done is we've worked really hard to say, don't go hunting a model, don't go hunting something that you can automatically replicate, but go out looking for things that resonate with you and make them fit into the local context. So I think there's a lot of value in seeing lots of different things and then deciding what works best for you instead of trying to wholly replicate one thing. I would even say for what we offer up as a district, there are some good things that we do that are valuable. There are also some things that only work here in Henry County because of the people that are here and the context and all that kind of stuff.